The guys you know and trust, talking about the teams you can't live without. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, The Zone. Travis, good morning. We talked to you last summer, and it was because Egor was coming to BYU, and the news broke, and we're like, okay, he's from Russia. Travis played in Russia. He's going to BYU. Travis is going to be very well informed. Let's get Travis on the air. And you talked about Kevin Young, and you talked about Egor, and you were very upbeat. Now, the whole season didn't live up to what you talked about. There was some, late December, early January, somewhere in there. It was there was some potholes, but man, these last 6 to 8 weeks have been awesome. BYU's been on fire, and I've thought back to that conversation like, well, this is what Travis was pointing for, and I guess the only question is, did you think it would happen like this, or is this a little more success a little earlier in the Kevin Young era than even you thought would happen?
Well, there's much more visionaries over at the BYU athletic department than I. Lots of guys and girls do their job and hire amazing coaches and try to put all the pieces together to allow their programs to succeed. What I saw was, after playing professional basketball for 12 years, I saw a young man in Egor Demin that can play, that has high IQ, that understands the game, that's socially aware, that comes from a basketball family, and that's been trained up for the last 3 years from Real Madrid. So I knew he was going to be special. I knew he was going to get his job done. Now, there's ups and downs of the season, and not everyone's perfect and consistent, but in the end, they got the job done. And I think that's what you see with Kevin Young. Historically, he's got the job done. You don't stay in the NBA for as many years as he has without showing up, without showing that you can, you're capable and responsive, and that you're super competitive. So they put the pieces together, and sometimes you get lucky and you get to the Sweet 16. So, but you guys, PK's texted me and said BYU Sweet 16 last summer.
Yeah, but was he making a prediction, or was he trying to taunt you and provoke you into something?
No, he said DJ does not believe. I'm a believer. PK texted me and said BYU Sweet 16, $100. I said done. So I've lost $100 to PK.
No one believes any of that. PK would never bet $100 on anything. He's way too tight with a buck.
I'd bet $100 on Travis Hansen's ability to evaluate players.
There you go.
Yes, there's no question about that. I mean, he's talked to me about players many times. Back when he was playing, he talked to me about players and stuff that I don't even want to go into on the air.
They were that good of analysis,
yes,
huh? That pithy and to the point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he was right. Yeah, about some of his teammates. But did you see the story in ESPN that was posted this morning?
I have not. About BYU, Alabama tonight?
No, about Egor.
No, I have not.
Oh, yeah. They didn't. You're not quoted, but it talks about Egor and his background and Kevin Young and blah blah blah, and it goes through, and then about halfway through the middle of the story, it says, "Then there was the Travis Hansen factor," and I'm looking at it. And it talks about how the standout career at BYU, you played the year with the Hawks, then went overseas and did the Russian thing, and then before that, Real Madrid, and how his Egor was, I think it's Vladimir is his name, is Egor's father.
His dad, yep.
Yeah, and that he retired right before you got to Russia, but that your paths crossed, and so you guys were familiar with each other, and they did a Zoom call. And it was the Demin family, Kevin Young, and Travis Hansen. And then this is Egor's quote. First time I came here, I went to his house. He invited me for dinner. They have an awesome family, big family, really kind people. Travis Hansen was really a big reason for me coming here. Having Travis on my side is special. How cool is that to you?
I mean, his family means a lot to us. His dad ran the junior program, so development of the junior players in Russia when I played for Dynamo, and was a great guy. And his mom's awesome as well. She works for a basketball club there and in the junior program. So they're basketball people. It goes back to, I'm just trying to pay forward what has been done to me and what people have mentored me and guided me. I'm coming out of BYU my senior year, 2003, and I have 50 agents, that are contacting me, telling me they can help me. They can help me reach my dreams. They can, do all the things that help me and my family reach the NBA. And I don't know who's who, so I send a list to Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge texts back and says there's only 2 on that entire list of 50 that could get the job done for you: Bill Duffy and Justin Zanuck. So I meet with both of them, ultimately choose Bill Duffy, and Bill Duffy is the agent for Luka Doncic and Carmelo Anthony and Steve Nash and Yao Ming, and Bill Duffy changed my life. And so when Danny Ainge was retiring from the Boston Celtics, he talked to me about he's going to open up had he not joined the Jazz, consulting type of agency or company just to help these kids. These kids are so talented and so good, but their families and them, they don't know all the hidesters and chucksters and shady people out there that are so-called agents. They don't know the truth. Like, who's going to tell them the truth? Who's going to guide them and help them have a great career and protect them more than anything from all the distractions? And so Danny Ainge now joined the Utah Jazz as the CEO. He was going to do that. So that's what I do. It's when people ask me, I try to guide them and mentor them, because that's what people have done to me that allowed me to live, my dreams out and have a great career. So hopefully we were able to do that for Egor and many more athletes that come through BYU and other organizations.
You ever wonder what your life would have been like if you'd ended up with one of the other 48?
I know exactly what it'd be like. Would have played 1 or 2, 3 years in Turkey or somewhere, wouldn't have gotten drafted by Atlanta, and had no idea what this other life would have been like with Bill Duffy. And this is the key, is when he calls, there's a lot of manipulation. And, I think I've watched 50 college games this year, and I think there's 500 lottery picks. It's like, who's telling the truth? Like, what do the GMs actually think? I talked to a GM just the other day, and he says, oh, yeah, this guy and this guy's at least the seventh pick in the draft, but he's picking 6th. So what does he care who's picking 7th? And so there's just it's hard to find the truth in today's world. And Danny has helped guide me the whole way through. And Duffy, when he calls GMs of NBA teams, they think he's calling about Luka or Steve Nash or Carmelo. And then he's like, nah, I'm talking about Travis Hansen. And they're like, oh, well, we've still picked up the phone. Well, how can we help Travis? What do you think about Travis? And they'll tell Bill the truth, because they don't want to have a bad relationship with Bill, because he has, many other players that they're going to want. And so it goes down. Chad Lewis talks about this in his book about surrounding yourself with great people. And it's just sometimes really hard to find great people. And I'm thankful to Danny Ainge and others that have helped me surround myself with great people, because I did not know who they were at the time.
In his own way, Egor's game has really been elevated as the season has come on. And I really like him because he has hype, but yet you wouldn't know it. You would think he's just another guy, because he doesn't really show emotion. He just kind of does his thing. But he's clearly been playing better as the season has gone on. What do you attribute that to?
Again, he's surrounded by really good people. There's a time that there's so much in his head, and also being injured is really hard to get back quickly, physically, mentally, and kind of get back in that perfectly tuned feel that you have. And he's just a fighter. He's super tough mentally. He really is driven. I mean, he'll team practices to his own personal individuals, to the time he puts in by himself. It's amazing how much he loves this game and how successful he wants to be. And so it goes back to surrounding yourself with great people. KY and the staff have been awesome, and they continue to motivate him and watch film and break it down and show him where he can be more efficient and effective. You see that with Richie Saunders last year to this year. Every single number of Richie Saunders is up, whether it's field goal percentage or 3-point attempts and where they're attempted from. And the staff has done a great job of helping put him in a position to be successful. And then ultimately comes down to the player. Can they make the right play? Can they actually put that ball in the hoop when it matters? And again, it goes back to having really good mentors. At some point this season, we met with Egor and said, everyone knows you can pass. Everyone knows you have high IQ and your length and greatness. You got to be more of a weapon. You got to play faster, and you got to be a little tougher, and you got to start showing people you can score. Because what they're doing, we come off a screen, they're reading the pass, and they're letting you shoot that ball. And you saw it against Arizona, and you've seen it here in the NCAA tournament. He started to turn it up and make that read to be more of a shot first, pass second, and he has the ability to do it.
Alabama has some good size along the front line, but that backcourt's a couple of 6'1" guys. Obviously, Egor is going to have a huge height advantage there unless they do something different with their matchups. Do you think that BYU can score enough points to go out and win this game? Because it does look like it's going to require another 90-point effort.
Well, thank goodness that's our strength. It's not going to be a knockdown, physical, defensive battle where just offensive line beating the crap out of each other and trying to get to 50 points. This is what we do. We score points, and then we try to get as many stops as possible, and that's what this team's strength is. So it's going to be a fun game. Get ready for some buckets. We're going back and forth, and ultimately, if we can score more than they can, 49. What was it? What were we? 46% from three and 90% from free throw to beat Wisconsin. That's what it took. So guys have got to come in. They got to make shots, and because Alabama's going to make shots. So can we get enough stops and can we get enough buckets? And that's honestly, that's what BYU has done this year. So it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, but Travis, tell you my level of confidence. How do you think they match up against Duke?
You got to get through Alabama first.
Oh,
Duke would be awesome.
That's just a formality, man. That's a preliminary.
You already made your $100 off me. Come on, man. You already made your money.
Well, Kevin Young isn't going to hear this. Come on. You think you're going to win tonight, and you're going to scout that Arizona game against Duke and give Kevin some insight on how to beat them.
What?
I know you are.
That's our hope. I mean, I'm staying in New York 2 more days, and I don't fly out till Saturday, or till Sunday morning. I'm planning on it.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. Let's go. How awesome would that be? Elite Eight versus Duke. Egor versus Cooper Flag. Let's go.
Yeah. That would just be. I would like to see, in all sincerity, honesty, or whatever, seriousness, I guess. I would like to see what Mag would do against Cooper Flag. I think that would be a fun individual matchup.
So would I. I'd love to see that matchup. And as my kids said last night, as we were flying into New York, they were looking at their brackets, and my son's like, okay, so we beat Alabama, then we beat Duke, and then we see Kentucky and Polk in the Final Four. I said, let's go. That'd be so awesome. I'm texting Pope. I'm like, Final Four. Get your job done. We'll get our job done over here. That'd be awesome. That'd be super fun.
I'm wondering, there's been talk of BYU spending the money and all that with people who are willing to spend it. Did they ever ask you, is it worth spending the money on player XYZ?
We do have talks about valuing certain players and the market value. Yes, we have talked about that.
I figured.
I'm interested in how you judge market value. What do you think the average NIL is for a Sweet 16 team? You're just talking to a guy who's, all I know is the Big West. That's a whole different they got nothing compared to these teams. But I look at these programs, they all ought to be really well funded. What does it take to build a Sweet 16 team?
Well, it's so interesting that, it's so interesting you guys asked this because we've had this discussion quite a bit. Look at Todd Phillips at UVU. I think their NIL budget is 0 or 50,000, and that he put together an incredible team. And so, I don't know the answer to that question. I would say It just depends. You got to go find guys that that want to win and they're competitive, and sometimes they're second chance guys. They were at D1, they were at JUCO, something didn't work out. They're Prop 48 kids, and they're really looking at an opportunity to show what they can do, and that's what Utah Valley University goes after. BYU goes after a mix. They go after guys that, like Mag, who was at Rutgers, it didn't really work out very well for him, but he wants a second opportunity. He believes he has more to show. You mix that with a global pipeline of potential lottery picks, and then guys that you've developed that are the most amazing LDS kids that you can find, and you got a winning formula. And so, I think you kind of look at it in a little bit different perspective of how you can put together the best team with the best personalities that all want to be driven and are serious people about basketball. And then, if you have to pay some money, you pay some money to put together that team. But sometimes it's, a lot less than you think it would be.
Do you think that it's going to be important for BYU to maintain the LDS factor? Because it looks like they can get a roster, a lot more non-LDS guys, but I'm wondering how that's going to play over there, because there's some people who think that we still have to have, quote unquote, our guys.
Well, you look at the Clippers. Steve Ballmer's got more money than anybody, and he's trying to go sign the best players, and that didn't work out very well. My 17-year-old started being a Clippers fan for a minute, and he quickly repented of, he says the other day, well, at least we have the best stadium, but our team's not very good. And so you have to land the best LDS kids. Yes, you always have to. They're the best. They're awesome. They're great kids, and they fit within the mission of what BYU is. And then you find complementary people that are serious about what they want to do. And so it's a lot more about art than science about putting these teams together. You can't just go buy the best people. It doesn't work in the pros and it doesn't work in college. You have to genuinely know these kids. You got to know their families. You got to know what motivates them. You got to know what their incentives are, and you got to find kids that fit. And that's ultimately who ends up winning championships. And, that's what Duke has been great at. And that's what, a bunch of other schools that we look at as, who we want to be like at BYU. And I think we can make it happen.
In addition to the story on Egor on ESPN.com, there's one about Kentucky and, Arkansas, Kentucky, and BYU, and how the coaching dominoes fell, and how in the first year at their new schools, all three coaches are in the Sweet 16. How much of that comes down to investment in the program, and not just financial, but investment in the program and mindset? Because that's a lot of first-year success that didn't necessarily have to happen. It wasn't automatically going to happen for any of those three schools, and yet it happened for all three. Yeah,
we say there's wins and success go where they're wanted most. And it can't be one person. It can't be Coach Pope. Well, I want it the most, so obviously it's going to come. It's a team game, and collectively you have to all want it. So you have to have the backing of the administration. You have to have the backing of the boosters and the fans. You have to have the backing of the players and the coach. Now, the coach and maybe an admin drives it. And if they're very likable and if they're trustworthy and they can execute when the game's on the line, you can call a timeout with 8 or 9 seconds on the shot clock, and you can, put together the best play to get the ball in your best player's hands. That ultimately breeds confidence and allows people to start to trust and put money in and believe. So ultimately those coaches that you're talking about got it done. They get people to believe in them and their program, and they also have administrations that are completely 100% in with resources. And so that's what you've seen at BYU. Everyone has been in. Kevin Young walked into a team that Coach Pope and his staff and Santiago had put together. It's a pretty dang good team. And then he lands Chris Burgess, who is able to bring Kaba. And then, somehow, luckily, the world comes together, and Egor and his wonderful family believes that, my wife and I and KY can take care of him here in Utah. So you have enough people that are engaged in a program with success, magic can happen.
Oh, he drops the magic
He
can
did.
happen.
I saw
like
it right
that.
there. There it
That's
is.
beautiful. And magic will happen, my good man, Travis Hansen. They play in New Jersey, and I don't know if you know this, but I was born in New Jersey, spent the first 14 years of my life there. It is all coming together for us, the BYU Cougars.
Hey, did the magic happen to quote from Austin Collie? Did I just shout out Austin Collie?
Yes, you did. And that was with
gosh.
you know who was interviewing him when he said that? That was a one-on-one interview after they beat Utah in magical fashion, and he was speaking into the microphone that was being held by me. It's all coming together, my good man.
Oh, my. It's a small world. Oh, my gosh. And I'm in New Jersey. Will you text me the direction of your home you grew up in? I'll drive by and take a picture.
My father was born and raised in East Orange, which is literally right next to Newark. You can walk to his house from where you are. It is literally minutes away.
That's pretty cool, man. Well, it makes a lot more sense knowing that you're from New Jersey the way you are. So that makes me happy. This place is great. We're excited to play tonight, and shout out to Austin Collie. You know the funny thing? I come out of Mountain View High School in Orem, Utah.
Yeah.
And BYU was 1-25.
Yeah.
At the time,
Yeah.
nobody wanted to go to BYU at that time.
I remember.
University of Utah, Final Four. The one place I wanted to go so bad was University of Utah. And Rick Majerus was so good to me. He was so awesome. He even helped me host BYU. But we went to one practice, and my mom was still alive. Ultimately, that same year passed away from pancreatic cancer. And, losing your mom is just so devastating. But she went to one practice with Rick Majerus, and he did not show well his language and some of the things he was a great coach, right? But it was those other things of building the person. My mom was like, I can't let you go there. And ultimately we chose to go to BYU, and look what happened. Magic happened. So again, we're trying to find genuinely good people. I think Coach Pope said this: when I build my roster, it's not about money. I'm finding genuinely good players that love to compete. And that's what we try to do here at BYU too. And so I try to follow genuinely good people. Not that University of Utah isn't. They are. There's some good people up there. But, man, if Rick would have just held his tongue or, operated a little bit differently, things might have been different up there.
Well, you're not the first person to say that. I mean, run back what you just said and think how many people have said that. If he could have held his tongue and done things differently. But
hey, he was honestly really good to me. And we're cheering on Alex Jensen, whose wife and my wife went to elementary school together, and we hope that they can have all the success in the world up there as well.
Wait a minute, run that back. Your wife and Alex's wife went to elementary school together.
Yeah. Best friends in elementary school. We love Natalie. Natalie's
Small
awesome.
Lake City.
Yeah.
Good people.
And
genuinely good people up there.
In Jersey, and Travis, I clearly knew you. You were one of my friends before we got to Earth. I'll just leave it at that.
Imagine if we would have grown up in Jersey together.
I think you got a little in you.
Would have got in trouble. Would have been fun. DJ doesn't know about Jersey. DJ grew up in the suburbs of some rich
He's learned secondhand.
I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot about Jersey. I don't know if you can really appreciate how much I've heard about Jersey.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Did sidewalks and curbs to the till the 7th grade, but then out in the sticks. We moved. So all San Diego, but
San Diego.
Yep. South Bay to the East County. Yeah, there you go.
That's a great place to grow up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind growing up in San Diego. That's awesome.
Most people from Utah go to North County, and they go to the beach. So different part of the county.
Spring break, Orange County, California. Basically, all Utahs move in for a weekend.
Pretty much, yes. Where do you go? You go to Dana Point?
Newport.
He's Newport all the way. No San Clemente or San Juan Capistrano for this guy. Newport.
We do love it out there. We got family out there that are awesome. And most of the time we do go out there and go eat at Baja Tacos. Shout out Baja. But we're going to Florida this year.
Nice.
Andy Reid ever let you stay at his house? PK's got
I
stories.
love Andy. We just had lunch last week in Provo. I love Andy Reid. He's such a good human. He was with Patty Edwards out to lunch as well, and Patty and Lavelle were on my nonprofit board for years. So yeah, at BYU there's so many good people. You know, the GM of the arena out here is a member of the LDS Church. You know, we've got people everywhere. It's amazing.
Great, nice. I did not know that. Now we know.
It's amazing. Andy Reid has been so successful. He's such a good guy. He's got a great mustache, too.
He does.
All right, well, we'll see if you're right. You and Pope meeting up at the Final Four. Both wearing blue, but different shades.
Hope see you in San Antonio.
All right.
DJ PK, you're my favorites. Love you guys. Go Cougs.
Thank you, Travis.